Okay, we are waiting for the rest. Where are they? You should join now. What to Wally? Mrs. Choi, I don't know why your people are not joining. No.
I don't know.
I don't know for them now. I'm still wasting our time now.
Are you doing converting the first one? Sir,
No?
hello? Are you calling them? Did you call the okay? Okay. Okay.
Okay. Why did you know people? Why people did not join early now? What happened? You
You
forgot
said
to.
you
Eh?
you said the recording was converting, so we use that time to
Ah,
quickly go and do some stuff.
to go and eat. Hmm? Okay. So, did you understand what we just did? Hope everybody understood it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's a potential. That question is a potential examination question. Let me tell you that.
Mm.
Hmm?
Has it ever
That
been
could be what
tested?
now.
Is it from past question? This particular question?
It's not. No, but it's a potential examination question.
Okay.
I will be telling you questions that are potential examination question. I will be telling you. So take them seriously. Make sure you understand them. Not only them, every other question as well.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the next subtopic. Project specific cost of capital. Now, let us explain this project specific cost of capital. Now, we have been able to explain what we mean by business risk, right? We'll be able to explain what we mean by business risk and the financial risk. And I've explained to you how we measure business risk. Who can tell me, what do we use to measure business risk? What do we use to measure business risk? Oh yeah. What do we use to measure business risk? I'm waiting for you people. We have done it before. What do we use to measure business risk? Have you forgotten? Or you cannot hear me?
Asset
Can you hear me?
beta.
Asset beta. Beta of assets. Okay? Okay. Let me put it here so that we can see. Asset beta. Which is BA. This measures what? Business risk. Have you? This measures business risk. That is, everybody knows this. This measures business risk. And I told you that every industry,
You have sent it.
you said?
Okay.
What do you say? So every industry, we have different business risk. Abi? So every industry will have different business risk, hence different asset beta. Abi, we also understood this, Abi? I explained this one in detail when we were treating the CAPM as a method of computing cost of equity. So asset beta measures business risk, and every industry we have different business risk, hence business risk, hence it should be semicolon, hence different asset beta, right? That is also well understood, Abi. Now, let me illustrate two industry now. Let me say I have education industry here. Okay. Let me insert a table here to illustrate this. Let me insert a small table, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me say I have an education industry here. And here I have a financial service. Financial service industry. Education industry here, financial industry there. Now, let me now say currently, please make sure you understand what I'm doing here, please, for God's sake. You must understand this. This is the real cost of capital. This is the real cost of capital. Now, current industry. Let me say my current industry. My current industry is this education here. Okay, is this. Let me mark it here. Okay, and say this is my what? This is my current industry. Okay, this is my current industry. Now, of course, because this is my current industry, it means the risk I'm facing presently will be what? Will be the risk in the education industry, because that is where my activity is located presently. That is the industry from where I'm carrying out my current business activities. So the risk I'm facing presently is the risk of the education industry. Are we together? That is my current risk, my current business risk. And of course, my current work, my current weighted average cost of capital will be what? Will be the one computed for the education industry. Because your work will reflect your business risk. Okay? Your work will reflect your what? Your business risk. I think I've explained it earlier that we have equity beta. Equity beta is made up of what? Business risk and financial risk. So the addition of business risk and financial risk gives you your equity beta. So it means your cost of equity that you know is equity beta you use to calculate your cost of equity. It means your cost of equity that you have computed, that you have used to calculate your work, will reflect what? Business risk. Okay? So my current work is reflecting the business risk of the education industry. I believe that is clear. Let me insert row below, row below. Let me insert one more in case we need. Row below. Okay. This one is not insert. Insert row below. Oh, okay. It went down. Okay, no problem. Let me just reduce it a little here. Let me reduce it a little here. Let this one go up small. Okay. Now, this is my current activities. This is my current activity. Okay. That's my current activity. Let me use this. That's my current activity. Now, I'm now proposing. Look at my proposed industry. Proposed industry. Now, I'm now proposing going into the financial service industry. That is my proposal. That's where I want to go into now. Now, let me ask you this question now. Do you think the work I have in this industry here, in my current industry education, do you think that work will be appropriate for me to evaluate my business in the financial industry? No. The answer is no. Because my current work is reflecting the risk of the education industry. My current work is not reflecting the risk of the financial service industry. Therefore, I cannot use my current work to evaluate my investment in the financial service industry. So, what is the implication of this? The implication of this is that I need to compute what? What we call project specific work. Project specific work. My project specific work means that I want to compute a work that is suitable for the industry I want to go into. The business I want to go and carry out in the financial service industry. Which work do I need for that particular investment? That is what we call project specific work, because my current work will not be suitable for my proposed activity, simply because my current work does not reflect the risk of the financial service industry. It only reflects the risk of the education industry. Therefore, I cannot use the work for the education industry for my investment in the financial service industry. I need to compute a cost of capital that is specifically meant for the financial service business that I want to carry out. So that is why it is referred to as project specific work. That is the reason why it is referred to as what? Project specific work. Let us now, please, before I go further, let me ask, did you understand the concept of project specific work now? Did you understand that? Did you understand it? I need response from the three of you, please, to be sure. Don't keep quiet. If I ask a question, please let us respond so that I be sure that we are on the same page. Did we understand the concept of project specific cost of capital now? Are you all busy with something else?
Yeah, it's good, sir.
Okay, did you understand the
Yeah,
concept?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Angela, did you understand? The reason why I want to get you actually because when they say cost of capital, this is the bedrock of cost of capital. You don't just compute anyhow cost of capital. You must know the cost of capital you are computing. Okay? If you don't know the cost of capital you are computing, then you will not be able to compute cost of capital. And for you to know, that is the framework I'm trying to explain here. That's why I need the assurance that you actually understood the concept. Now, since you give me assurance, now let's go to procedure. Procedure for calculating project specific work. Procedure for computing project specific work. 1 minute, please. Give me 1 minute. I need to quickly call this man. 1 minute, please. Okay, let us continue. Let's look at the procedure for computing project-specific work, okay, which is project-specific cost of capital. Okay, sorry about that. I'm having a visitor that is coming for my naming ceremony, so I need to monitor his movement. That's what happens. So sorry about that, please.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. So let us continue. Let's look at the step-by-step approach to the computation of project-specific cost of capital. Step one. Step one. You need to identify, okay? Identify a proxy company. Identify a proxy company. Now, let me define what we mean by a proxy company. What do you mean by a proxy company? A proxy company is a company that is already operating in the proposed industry. Okay, in the word proposed industry. Now, from our illustration above, we say we want to go to what? We want to go to the financial service industry. Do we have? We don't know anything about the financial service industry because that is not our current what? That's not our current industry. And we need information about that industry. Okay? We need information about that industry. Now, what do you need to do? You need to look for a company that is already in that industry that you just want to go into. We just want to go into financial service. So we need information about the industry we want to go into. And since the industry is new to us, we don't have information, we don't have any information with respect to that industry. So what you need to do is that you need to get a company that is already in that industry. That company is what we call a proxy company. Okay? Sometimes we can also call it what? A surrogate. Surrogate what? Company. We call it a proxy company or a surrogate company. So it is a company that is already operating in that industry that you just want to go into. So that's step one. Identify a surrogate or a proxy company. Then you now go to step two. You go to step two. Go to step two. I'm sorry. Go to step two. What is our step two? Step two is for you to obtain the proxy better. Obtain the proxy better. Obtain the proxy better. Don't forget, better measures risk. Abi, better measures risk. So the industry we want to go into, we want to get the risk of that industry. So we need better. Okay, we need better. And the better you are going to pick is the better of the proxy company that you have selected. Pick the better of that company. Now, the better you have picked can be either of two better. It's either it is what? Equity better. Okay. It can be one. It can be equity better. Equity better. Equity better is what? It's a geared better. That is a geared better. A geared better. A geared better. So this is the first type of better you can have. Not the two at the same time, please. Two. It can be an asset better. It can be an asset better, which is what? Better of asset. It can be an asset better that is an ungeared better. An ungeared better. An ungeared what? Better. These are the two types of better you can get from the proxy company. Now, if it is an asset better, what does it mean? It includes what? It means it includes financial risk. It includes financial risk, right? If the beta you have picked is a beta that is geared, it means that beta is inclusive of what? Financial risk. But what information do we want? We want business risk. We don't need financial risk here, because our purpose, our aim is to get the risk we are going to face in that industry. And the risk we are going to face in the industry is measured by asset beta. So if what you have gotten from the proxy company is an equity beta, it means the beta is inclusive of what? Financial risk. What do you need to do? You need to eliminate, okay? You need to eliminate financial risk. Now, the question might not tell you directly that this beta is equity beta. How will you know? You have to look at the proxy company information. If the proxy company is having debt, then the beta is a geared beta. If the proxy company is not having debt, then the beta is an asset beta. Do you understand? If you look at the company information, the proxy company information, and you can see gearing ratio, or you see that in the statement of financial position extract, there is debt, then the beta is a geared beta. And what we need is only business risk. So what do we need to do? We need to remove financial risk. Okay, how do we remove financial risk? That is step 3. Step 3. Okay, remove financial risk from the beta of equity. If it is beta of asset, you don't need to remove anything at all. Okay, because that is already business risk. If the beta you pay from the proxy company is asset beta, you don't need to remove anything, because there is no financial risk on it. Since there is no financial risk in it, you don't need to remove financial risk. But if it is equity beta, you need to remove financial risk from the what? From the beta of equity. From the beta of equity. Okay? And for you to remove this, what do you call it? This is what? Called ungearing. So I say what? Ungear the. To do this, ungear the what? Ungear the beta of equity. Ungear the beta of equity. And ungear the beta of equity. Now, what formula do you need to ungear? The formula you need to ungear means you want to compute what? You want to compute asset beta. Abi? You want to remove financial risk so that you'll be left with business risk, which is measured by asset beta. So what formula do you need? And I say beta of assets is equal to beta of equity into bracket market value of equity all over market value of equity plus market value of debt, open bracket, 1 minus tax rates, 1 minus tax rate. So close that bracket. I've closed the first bracket, have you? Yes. Now say plus beta of debt into bracket, market value of debt all over market value of equity plus market value of debt into bracket 1 minus tax rate. Close the second bracket. So the market value, sorry, this one should have the upper part. Also 1 minus tax rate, market value of debt, 1 minus tax rate Okay? So this is the formula you need in order to get the beta of equity. That's the formula you need. That's the formula you need. So when you use this formula, you get your what? You get your beta of asset. You get your beta of asset. And that beta of asset measure only what? Only business risk. This is what we call ungearing. When you say ungear the asset, the equity beta, ungear the equity beta, this is what we mean. And of course, you don't need to start putting this formula in your head. Okay? Don't start to struggle to put it in your head. The formula will be given to you in the formula sheet, okay? Appendix to the exam, to the question paper rather. Appendix to the question paper is this formula. So it will be part of the formula sheet. Okay? Now, after you have ungeared this beta, and you have gotten your asset beta, you proceed to step 3. To step 4 rather. You proceed to step 4. What is step 4? Step 3 will give me the risk of the industry, right? The risk of the industry. And all companies in the art industry will face that risk. All companies in that industry will face that risk. Now, I will now have to come back to my own company now and see if my company is having debt. If my company is having debt, in addition to the business risk I'm going to face in the financial service industry, I'm also going to face my own financial risk. Two companies cannot have the same financial risk. So they can only have the same business risk. So the moment I get that business risk, then I will now recognize my own financial risk. Okay? The process of recognizing your own financial risk in the business risk that asset beta that you have computed is what we call regearing. Okay? So let's see that. Recognize your company's what? Your company's financial risk. Financial risk in the asset beta. In the asset beta. Which asset beta? The asset beta you computed in step 3. You now put your company's financial risk in it. Okay? This process, okay, this will go off. When this link expire, please join using the same link again. We'll be using one link again now so that we don't have a confusion. Just one link. So this process, okay, let me use the same one. To do this, regear the what? Regear the asset beta obtained in step 3 above. In step 3 above. You need to what? You need to regear the asset beta that I've gotten in step 3. You need to regear it. So, what formula do you need? What formula do you need? Beta of equity, because the moment you regear, you are putting in your own financial risk. You will now be having what? Business risk and financial risk. And the beta that measures both business risk and financial risk is what? is equity beta. So to reach J means I want to get equity beta. And what formula do I need? Beta of equity is equal to beta of asset plus open brackets, beta of asset minus beta of debt into bracket times market value of debt, open bracket, 1 minus the tax rate, close bracket, all over market value of equity. This is the formula you need to what? To re-gear the asset better. This is the formula you need to re-gear the asset better. Okay? Now, having done this, you now have another asset beta, sorry, another equity beta. That equity beta is no longer the same with this one here. No. That equity beta you have now gotten is the one that is meant for that business you want to what? You want to do in the industry. Okay? That's the equity beta you are going to get. Now, when you get this equity beta, you proceed to step 5. Step 5. Step 5. Now, step 5 is what? Is where you now have to compute cost of equity. Cost of equity using CAPM, using capital asset pricing model. That's the next thing. Compute your cost of equity using capital asset pricing model. I don't need to state the formula, you already know the formula. Then, when you are done, proceed to step 6. Step 6 is what? For step 6, compute cost of debt. Compute cost of debt. Compute cost of debt. You can see that it's now similar to what you have done before, Abi. Then, after cost of debt, then what next? Step 7. I'm giving you the whole step so that everything becomes simpler to you. Step 7. Step 7, compute market value of equity and debt. Compute market value of equity and debt. Compute market value of equity and debt. 1 minute, please. Okay, sorry for the short break. So step 7 is to compute market value of what? Market value of equity and debt. And the last step, which is step what? Step 9. Step 9 is where you now compute your what? Your work. Now compute your what? Compute work. Now, by the time you compute this work, that work is no longer for your current activity, but for your proposed what? For your proposed activity.
So step 8. Not step 9.
So it's 8, Abby. Step 8, thank you. Step 8. So that is the process of computing project-specific cost of capital. So let's use the remaining 2 minutes to ask questions before we go and solve a question on that. Question time, please. Remaining 2 minutes for question. Mrs.
Can
Angela.
you quickly explain that table again?
The what? Which one?
You drew on your sheets up there.
So, Mrs. Shen, which one are you talking about? Is it the whole process again or a particular step?
Before
Hello?
the explanation you
Before
did
the-
on before the steps that you explained, there's this table that you drew that you did VVXS.
Okay, this one.
Yes, exactly, sir.
Okay. Now, what I said here was that if we assume that this is our current business, education. Okay, let me use FCA for instance. FCA is currently rendering educational services, right? Now, for this particular education industry, there should be a business risk, Abi, and that business risk will be faced by all company carrying out educational services in that industry, right? And that business risk is measured by what? Is measured by asset beta. Now, in the computation of work, you know your work is cost of equity times market value of equity, market value of equity plus market value of debt, right? When we are computing the cost of equity, the business risk is incorporated in the beta of equity in order to compute cost of equity, right?